Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. As promised, let's take you back live now to Protea Glen in Soweto. We understand that there's been a standoff. This is where we find Heidi Giokos as well, and these are live visuals coming from there. Heidi, just give us an update. I understand that at some point the standoff became a bit violent.
Yes, exactly, Masako. It seems as though there was a standoff. I'm not exactly sure what sparked this, but it seems as though what happened was... It seems as though what happened at this point was the fact that members from, I'm not exactly sure if it was the taxi association or those that have been alleged to have sparked this violence, walked up to the Gauteng traffic control as well as the e-hailing drivers that had since converged further up from Protea Glen after they had been asked to disperse. And it just seemed as though there was a lot of uncertainty as to who was who, and they were trying to get people to separate and move back. And then suddenly we heard rubber bullets going off because they were trying to disperse the crowd. There just seemed to be too many people coming, also community members trying to ascertain what was going on. And the Gauteng traffic control were trying to manage the situation, and they decided to fire rubber bullets just to disperse the crowd. It seems as though there is some sort of engagement at this point with taxi leaders as well as the e-hailing association. I'm not exactly sure where they are taking Tato, who is from the Soweto e-hailing association. I think they are just trying to engage and trying to find a solution to this. There are two separate groups right now, Masako. The group that Teddy is showing you right now, I'm not exactly sure who they are. I will try and approach them now, but I do think that they are the taxi association, from the taxi association, and the group on the other side seems to be the e-hailing association on this side. So this that we are showing you now seems to be the e-hailing association with the Bolt drivers, and on my left it seems to be the Soweto Taxi Service Association, which has been implicated in this, where the e-hailing association is saying they are behind the torching of these vehicles. We've been asked by the Gauteng Traffic Police to step back. And I think it's just for them to monitor the situation at this point. But there is definitely a standoff, and I think it's only fair for the Soweto Taxi Association and Service to give their version of events, and I think that's why they've arrived here, so that we can all ascertain exactly what's going on here. But I must say the situation does remain tense, especially because you have many community members also coming in. So it's very difficult for Gauteng traffic police to try and control the situation when there are just too many people around, and it's inevitable that the community members would want to come in and see what's going on. But this has been boiling under, Masako, and many would argue and say that this was bound to happen, especially because you had this happening at Protea Mall on Friday. It wasn't this volatile because the situation was brought under control with meetings of the mall management, and then the MMC for Roads and Transport arrived together with the Kliptown Police Station commander, really trying to get everybody into a meeting to calm the situation down. But it doesn't seem as though this happened this time around, and we've heard from the Soweto E-hailing Association that they've had enough and they cannot have any more vehicles or their members being targeted.
And I wonder what sparked this, Heidi. I mean, they've been getting along for quite a while. Uber has had access to Soweto for some years now.
Yes, exactly, and I think this is what's rather concerning, is that they have been working hand in glove, but it seems as though it seems to be a price issue, Masako. So one Uber driver that we had spoken to earlier this morning actually told me that it becomes a problem when you have, for example, a taxi charging 20 Rand for 3 people for one trip, whereas Uber and Bolt cannot afford to charge 20 Rand for 3 people for the same trip. So there seems to be a price difference and a price regulation issue here, where they are trying their best to say, we are losing, we are suffering, you, yes, are making money by offering a cheaper service, but let's work hand in hand so we can try and regulate this sector. This also falls heavy on the shoulders of the MEC of Transport in the province, Masako, because this is not something new. This has been a problem for some time. and they need to find a way to solve this because cars have been torched. You have community members in the area that are in need of the service, and now they're probably going to be too scared to move into and use the service moving forward. Last week Friday, I just want to add this point, Masego. Last week Friday, when we were here at Protea Mall, we actually spoke to gogos who were on their way to the post office to receive their SASSA grants, and they were so fearful, saying that they are too frail to get into a taxi, it's too complicated for them, and they rely solely on Uber and Bolt, and they indicated how petrified they are even thinking about going into an Uber and Bolt because of this volatility and because of the fact that you have people torching and removing Uber drivers and beating them up. If somebody's old and frail, it's very difficult for them to react and try run for cover. And this shouldn't even be happening in the first place. But the visuals that Teddy is showing you at the moment, Masego, it seems as though both parties are trying to come to a solution, and they are trying to have a discussion around what is actually going on here. But there's a lot of arguing going on at this point, and I'm going to see if there's any way I can go closer so I can just try and figure out who is who and what exactly is going on here. I'm not exactly sure, Masego, at this point where everybody is moving to. Perhaps they are trying to move into a place of where they're going to be meeting, because I can see the Soweto E-Hailing Association chairman, Tato, is also walking ahead there. I don't see any authorities walking with them. Perhaps they are just trying to have a meeting together to figure out what is going on. I'm trying to see if I can see any MMCs or anybody here at this point. It just seems as though it is traffic, Gauteng traffic police at this point. I have seen a JMPD vehicle as well, and the police are also here.
Well, hopefully, Heidi, this doesn't affect traffic as we edge closer and closer to peak hour. Does it look like that's what's going to happen, Heidi? It's 1:30. Does it look like police have anything under control?
The thing is, Masego, this particular road, it's on the same stretch as Protea Glen Mall, but it's further up, has been blocked by authorities, so by the Gauteng traffic police. And it seems as though that happened soon after rubber bullets were fired, just to try and get the community to disperse and try and get the situation under control. But further up, it has been blocked. Because they are, of course, trying to control the situation. But if you can just bear with me, Masego, I just want to see if the entrance to the mall has since been opened. It seems as though it has been opened, but it's very quiet, and that obviously means that the message has gone out to shoppers and community members, because they obviously don't want to be in a situation where they are in any sort of danger of some sort. The road further up does seem open, Masego, into the mall, the entrance into the mall. It does seem open, but further up it is closed.
Heidi, it doesn't look like anything has calmed down there.
No, Masego, it doesn't seem as though anything has been calmed down, Masego, and rubber bullets are now being fired because they are trying their best to control the situation. It seems as though Tato from the E-Hailing Association had gone to the Taxi Association to probably engage and have a conversation with him, and they actually physically started attacking him and grabbing him by the shirts. And let's just go in, Masego, let's...
Tato,
what is going on here?
They just wanted to shoot me right now here. in front of the cops, and nobody was there. They said I must go with the taxi people. I went there. Now when I get there, they round me up in a circle.
Why are you going there without the cops?
Because of the cops said I must go there, and I thought they are with me. When I checked there, I'm alone.
Don't go there.
Umberlin kisita kwali in the first place, not where in house.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
No, I'm done. No, I'm done. No, I'm done. No, they disappeared. Hello, when we turn around, there's no one anymore. Yeah, the cops were the next thing, they're not there.
So they're telling you not to worry and not to be scared. But why did you decide to go and engage with the taxi?
Because they gave us an impression that they want to talk. So when I arrived there by the corner, I could see that I don't see anyone anymore. So when I turned, they gave me a circle. On that circle, they started attacking and beating me up, and someone there breached a gun. I didn't see who it is exactly. Then I had to run into public because they are hiding themselves so that the cameras don't see what they're doing. And this is all the leadership of STS. They're saying, who do I think I am?
But who told you to go there? Why did you go there?
They said they were mediating. They said I must go down. I took my leadership. We do what, 4 of us. But the person they're looking for is my head.
Okay, how are you going to resolve this? This has gone out of control and it's very volatile.
I guess it will be resolved when the STS sees my head on the ground and my coffin goes 6 feet underground.
But they don't do anything.
Because I don't know if anybody will do anything about this.
Are you an Uber driver? How are you feeling about this?
No, I have no feeling about this, my sister. Like, this is out of control. It's out of control.
Do you fear for your life? Are you part of...
I don't fear of my life. I fear of my job. I don't care about my life.
So, do you also believe that STS is behind this?
They're proving it.
They prove it now.
They showed us now. There's no need for us to go anywhere. Now we know, and they even told us that we not go to.
They are saying like Tattoo must go there, and they're no longer part of protecting.
They knew. I'm all over the place for a week. This is what exactly the ANC is doing. Everybody knows I'm on TV. I'm not a celebrity. I'm on TV because I'm representing my brothers and sisters who die on a daily basis. There was no need for cops to actually not even put me as a high-profile person when people here arrived. The first thing, actually, according to me, where is policing strategy on this? We all know what the taxi people are all about. I'm not scared of them. Not that I can do anything to them. They can bring whatever death they think they can bring. My death is only controlled by only God, not them. But I'm not going to fear and be intimidated by them because of they speaking the language they speak or they think they own this world. They don't. We need to coexist. They have children who are the same age as me. Those children, what are they doing? If they're driving overboard, will they do the same thing about it? They think they're untouchable. They think they don't live. They're living here as aliens. They are alone. And this is what this has come to because of under the leadership of the ignorant ANC people. And not that ANC is eating money. They're selling us out.
So what's the way forward now?
The way forward is for President Cyril Ramaphosa and his goonies there in that parliament they're sitting in and chowing our money in this country to come down on the ground and start engaging with us. Because one thing I can tell you right now, and I'll tell you, Ramaphosa, my death is on your blood if anything should happen to me. You take me to your children and your wife, and you bury me yourself.
Okay, Masako, I think that just gives you some perspective as to what exactly is going on here. It seems as though the Gauteng traffic police are now trying to move in to engage as to what exactly happened. But if I'm not mistaken, Teddy was actually showing you those visuals where Tato had moved in, and Tato is the head of the Soweto E-Hailing Association. He had moved in to engage because he says he had been told to go and engage and talk to try and find a solution to this ongoing standoff between these two groups. And then it seems as though they started physically attacking him, and this is when the rubber bullet was fired to try and calm the situation down. They're obviously trying to move in to understand both parts of the story, but obviously serious allegations being made by the Soweto E-Hailing Association saying the fact that the Soweto taxi service is reacting this way proves that they are behind this. I'm going to try and obviously get their side of the story at this point, but it does remain rather volatile on that side, where we've even heard the Gauteng traffic police saying do not move in there and do not go in there until we are able to bring the situation under control.
Yeah, we did see those visuals, Heidi, but obviously we were not seeing exactly what was going on. We just saw him try and get out of the clutches of their hands. They had his T-shirt clutched in their hands at some point. But Heidi, have you been able to speak to them? Are they alienating you from getting a response from them?
Yes, Maseko, it does seem as though we've been advised not to go there, and I think it's also because we're not exactly sure the state of mind that they are in, because it seems as though there is a lot of aggression at this point, and as you've rightfully said, there's a standoff between the two, so obviously emotions are running very high at this point. I will try my best to get the attention of the Soweto taxi service, but I'm not exactly sure who would be able to engage at this point. We have been told to just hang 10 and not move in at the moment, whereas the Gauteng Traffic Police are even also starting to move back because the situation obviously does remain volatile. They're unsure of who is who, and there's obviously a standoff between the two, and that can become rather dangerous. But as Tato was saying, he was encouraged to go and engage with the second party in this, and he was then told, he says he felt as though he was neglected by them because he says they physically attacked him, and as you mentioned, they were obviously pulling his shirts.
I did see that, Heidi, and I wonder what it is that they're discussing there. They keep hurdling in circles, and police are also going around them. So I guess the different groups are discussing the way forward. And in the meantime, I wonder what's going to happen in terms of the motorists. So Heidi, does this mean then that particular road has been closed off to traffic? I've been seeing them having meetings in the middle of the road, no car going by. So I'm assuming they've closed it off to traffic.
Yes, indeed, Maseko. I just want to double check. The road leading into the mall is still open, so people can move in and out of the mall. It's the traffic light just after the entrance to Protea Glen by the McDonald's that has been blocked off, and that's because there are a number of people that are, of course, looking, and JMPD as well as Gauteng Traffic Police have also blocked the road with their vehicles, also because there are a number of, if I can call it, groupings that are happening all over this road. It's obviously going to affect traffic severely, but it seems as though they are trying to control the situation. But this road has to remain closed because they're obviously meeting, and there's two groupings. It's the Soweto E-Hailing Association and what appears to be the Soweto Taxi Service Association.
All right, Heidi Giokos live for us there. Is there something else you wanted to give us an update on, Heidi?
Yes, I just wanted to show you, Maseko, I'm going to ask Heidi to show you these visuals. It seems as though there are members of the Soweto taxi service that seem to be walking towards the grouping of the E-Hailing Association. And it seems as though Gauteng Traffic Control are trying to stop them from doing so, which I find rather strange and interesting, and I'm wondering why they are asking them not to come forward. I personally did see armed members of the Soweto taxi service, and I think this is why the Gauteng Traffic Police are trying to just calm the situation down and find a way to have both groups have a conversation without there being any tension and volatility. They are engaging what appears to be the head of this particular group of the Gauteng Traffic Police. He seems to be controlling and also delegating what should and shouldn't happen. So he is having a conversation with what I presume could possibly be the head of the Soweto Taxi Association. You know what, Maseko, I'm going to just actually see if we can listen into what's going on here.
If you are not up until tomorrow's resolution, state of Uncle clip down. Not understand. Yes.
So my question is, what triggered that about blockade?
Asazi thina ngithi ukuthi sithola message ukuthi kuvalwe indlela kuvela amagate imola ingeni.
So right now we came here for that.
Akere yana utaswa kisho kere ya the discussions re le batlang gore di buyo sane like no akere kirateng there was proposal ene iqadile from last week Friday.
Yes.
Go clip down. All stakeholders were called. Meeting ikaosane. Akere now if the meeting is look outside, Luna look quality trata ka sheku ribata ore.
You understand?
It's because of Mavana
That is why, because we are having a meeting tomorrow. Now, what triggered the issue of a
there's no meeting tomorrow. If he says there's a meeting tomorrow, why is people are closing the mall's gates? Yes, because of one
My name is Heidi Giokos.
Yes, Heidi.
Could you maybe just tell us what's going on? You are from the Soweto taxi service.
Yes.
You're being accused of sparking the violence and touching the Uber. What is your response?
Yes, the PRO. You can speak to the PRO.
Meeting message. It's a meeting, a clip down. Yeah. Why must we for the market mall?
You're being accused of being behind the violence that we saw yesterday.
No violence. All right, message.
Okay, Masako, he's insisting that I don't understand this response, but he's insisting that there's a meeting that's supposed to happen tomorrow at Kliptown Police Station, and he's also just as confused. The Soweto taxi service is also just as confused as to why the mall was blocked, as to why the gates of the mall were blocked and the entrance to the mall was blocked. So they are saying, let's rather wait for the meeting to take place tomorrow to understand what the problems are, put all the problems on the table. I did ask the question as to the fact that they are being accused of sparking the violence from yesterday's torching of 2 Ubers here at Protea Glen Mall, and it seems as though the individual from the Soweto taxi service is saying there is no violence and tomorrow there's going to be a meeting, which I think is fair. And this is obviously the question that I've also been posing to Tato, to say, but there is a meeting that's scheduled to take place tomorrow. Why did you have to block the entrances to the mall and not wait for that meeting to take place? And it seems as though Tato's saying, well, because of the torching that took place yesterday and because drivers fear for their lives, they want something to be done about it urgently, and they felt the need to block the entrance to bring the attention to the problem. But the Soweto taxi service seems as though they do want to engage, and they are saying, let's wait for the meeting tomorrow so we can have a proper discussion and there can be some kind of solution to this so there isn't violence to this.
So Heidi, I see the PRO there. If you could just catch him very quickly. We just need to know from you whether the Soweto Taxi Association belongs to either Santaco or the National Taxi Association. If you could just confirm with them, please, whether they belong to the umbrella Santaco or eNCA.
To my question, I just want to ask you if the Taxi Service Association, yes, does it belong to Santaco?
No, eNCA.
Okay.
eNCA.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. I'm not exactly sure why they do not want to engage, Masako, because I'm understanding what they are saying about the fact that they want to wait for the meeting tomorrow. I find it rather peculiar that they don't want to engage given the serious allegations leveled against them, but I think for clarity purposes, which I think was important, was the question that you asked me to pose, whether or not they belong to Santaco, and they've indicated they do not belong to Santaco. So it seems as though they might be independent because the Soweto taxi services, all the vehicles that we have been seeing look like meter taxis, and they are obviously now in rival with the other e-hailing services such as Uber and Bolt. But I do know that meeting is set to take place tomorrow, and they are probably going to have a discussion with police, mall management, as well as as the two groups.
All right, well, the Taxi Association's PRO confirming with you there, Heidi, that they belong to the National Taxi Association. And of course, we all know how important money is when it comes to this particular industry, whether it be taxis or Uber. Money is always important. And one of them was saying they cannot block the road today because what does that mean for their bread? But of course, the Uber drivers also responding by saying, look, you're killing some of our brothers and sisters. And actually, the representative for the Uber drivers saying to Heidi, if they have sons his age, would they be attacking them the way that they are? So as you heard from Heidi there, the Uber drivers or the e-hailing services are blaming the Taxi Association and taxi drivers for what happened in the violence yesterday. But of course, the Taxi Association saying Tinas Pansi, meaning we are actually not fighting. We are actually very calm, and we are expecting the meeting to conclude first tomorrow before we do anything. But that was Heidi Giokos in Soweto for us in Protea Glen. Of course, we'll still stay with her when we return after this short break.